Is that like one of those weird names? It's pronounced completely different from how it looks. Like
Immohen?
Like Siobhan.
Oh, yeah, Siobhan. I'm sorry. That's just not correct. Isn't it Siobhan?
Yeah. Siob.
This is our daughter, Siobhan. What?
I didn't realize they were the same name at all.
Welcome to Namely 90s. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there's Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Twitter and Instagram at namely90s with a 90s. You can also find the show on YouTube every Monday at namely90s.com/YouTube. And finally, if you'd like to support the show, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/namely90s, also with a 90s. You can sign up for the support levels.
I
say it with such enthusiasm.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you. I thought we should include a call to action for subscribers in the intro.
Hey, subscribe on your platform of choice.
Smack that subscribe button.
Smack that. Yeah. No, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah,
we'd appreciate it.
Choke it out like you found them at an Olive Garden with your lawyer. What?
I don't know. That seemed very specific.
Very specific, and do not escape in a white Ford Bronco.
Hey, you know what they say, if the glove fits or it doesn't.
Should we just redo that whole intro?
Oh, gosh. Anyway, well, we're back.
We are.
We're back.
And some people say better than before.
Who, though?
I would have to be one of us since we're the only two people here. And it's definitely not you because of self-esteem issues. So I'm saying it.
Okay.
Better than before. Possibly worse because I made an O.J. Simpson joke within the first minute of recording.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
And you're doubling down on it. So if we may be acting a little weird or loopy, it's because we haven't recorded in a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Yeah,
a hot minute.
It has. You were on vacation with your family. I was in the middle of nowhere learning to do modern winemaking because apparently I was taught techniques from the 90s.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I don't want to throw too much shade, but it looked like the winery was trapped inside of the 1990s.
That's
specifically just like
my lab setup.
No, the actual house on the property.
Oh yeah,
I was like, I swear to God, these cabinets are the same cabinets my parents had in their house.
I'm fairly sure that was older than that and built by Mennonites. Actually, that was a different house on the property.
Renovated in the 1990s.
Oh, absolutely.
With bad cabinets.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, am I in my parents' kitchen? But yeah, I feel like a lot of people who did stuff in the 90s, had a way of doing it and just still do that in many places and industries and areas of life.
Oh, yeah, we had an actual
advanced.
discussion about that because you were talking about older doctors are set in their ways and how they treat things and
and wine doctors.
Yes. No,
but I think what Kayla and I came away with when we visited, other than the fact that the wines were, of course, excellent, probably mostly somewhat you're doing, is that there are so many choices of tasting room in that region. Why am I going to the one that feels like my parents' 90s kitchen? Spruce it up a little.
That might be why they renovated.
Did they? That's good.
For the 25th.
It was time.
It was time. Yeah, definitely. They definitely needed to upgrade, especially when other wineries on that street are one, a castle, and two, a hipster bar.
A castle. And then the only thing I have to say too, and not to throw too much shade, is but every time because I follow them on Facebook,
most likely.
Every time they advertise and show a picture of one of their musical acts, I'm just like, that looks like the worst thing I've ever seen.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. That looks like every single act out here. It's a guy, 1 to 3 guys with a beard that's probably longer than mine.
A lot of them look like Guy Fieri, but without the highlights.
Yes,
in some way or another.
If Guy Fieri went boho chic.
Yeah, it's really true. It's really true. Anyway, Great Wines, award winning.
Check them out, Midnight Sellers. So you went on vacation to Southern California.
San Diego.
I was inside a college campus building that was designed to look like the inside of a barrel.
It's like a Quonset hut, basically.
No, it's just the architecture had like a stupid. It looked like it was kind of rolling in like the interior of a barrel at the Richland campus out there. The professor kind of threw some shade at it.
I'm calling it the Wine Quonset hut.
The Wine Quonset hut, yes, at your alma mater.
Well, let's calm down. The Tri-Cities branch of Washington State University is not what I exactly consider.
The Richland campus.
Ugh.
To be more accurate. It's definitely dry out there. How's Legoland?
It was good. Not that busy.
Mm-hmm. Which is weird.
Oh,
well, I guess all the California kids were back to school last week.
It was a weekday.
So, yeah, that too.
Yeah, the thing I learned is visit during the week if you want to do anything. Hang out at the pool at the hotel during the weekend. Drove around for hours, couldn't find parking anywhere. Finally found something. Kind of a letdown, but still a fun trip. A lot of work with 2 6-year-olds.
Yeah,
not really a vacation for the parents. There was.
Oh no, it's definitely about the kids.
So I used the website Turo.com or Turo, the app, for the first time.
Mm-hmm. I have no
idea. It's a car rental. It's like Airbnb, but for your car. So people buy cars or have cars and you can borrow them.
Right.
So it's like a rental. And we borrowed a huge, basically brand new expedition to haul all 6 of us and our crap and car seats, which was super nice. So we didn't have to haul them on the plane.
That's cool.
Do all this crap. And we only paid less than $200 a day for an expedition that was brand new.
Wow. That was probably almost cheaper than my Hertz rental.
That was not a gang sign or a Pizzagate thing, by the way. Or no, that's QAnon. Who's against that somehow.
You meant white power, but yeah.
These are all the same things. What?
You're not wrong.
Anyway, when we got there, we got behind a pickup truck and it had a sticker that was a Q with an American flag superimposed over it.
Well, so you felt right at home coming from Eastern Washington.
No, but so get to the airport. The guy meets us in the parking garage. We kind of have to rush to get into the vehicle because you're not supposed to really exchange vehicles there. And off we went. And then 20 minutes before we're supposed to meet at the airport, he's like, I have to sneeze. I'm sorry.
So if Brandon forgot to edit this out, he apologizes.
20 minutes before we get, we're about to leave for the airport, the guy calls me and is like, hey, I can't really make it. So my brother, he can meet you at a place by the airport and he'll just take you to the airport in a van. And I was like, well, there's 6 of us and luggage, so maybe that may not be big enough. He's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I have 2 brothers, so we'll take you in 2 separate vans. And I was like, let's meet at the airport. Please, So the joke from that point forward was that they okay, let's put the women and children in this van and the men in this van. And then within minutes, we would have been killed. And the family, the women and children would have been in Mexico within 30 minutes.
Pretty much. That's fun.
No, but I was like, no, we'll meet at the airport if that's all right. And he was like, oh yeah, no problem. I'm like, yeah, thanks, creep.
Well, it's like isn't Turo usually made for like renting out your sports car so that you can afford your payments on it?
No, it's for anything.
Well, I mean, in general, that's where you would hear people using it, because I've not heard people renting out expeditions or like minivans.
Yeah, people have made it into a business. They buy vehicles specifically just for that purpose. Mm-hmm. And it was great. I mean, overall, it was great. And then my brother-in-law rented a BMW and he was traveling and it was great. And the nice thing about it is, like, when you go on Hertz or whatever, you like reserve a car and they're like, this great car or similar. Right. And then it's like somehow, even though they don't make them anymore, it's like a Toyota Tercel. Like, how did I even get this?
Oh,
on Turo, you get what you choose.
That's nice. I mean, I actually did end up with the Jetta for once. I picked the Jetta. I was given the Jetta, which I
better get a Jetta. Wasn't that one of their commercials for a while?
Do not remember that. I am ashamed to say it has so much more like horsepower.
Yes, that was one of their campaigns. Sorry,
than my Honda Insight. Just like I would just press the gas pedal and be like, I was like, okay, I'm not used to that. I drive a hybrid.
Yeah.
But so this place, I've never rented a car that didn't have its own dedicated rental facility before. So it's like, small town airport. You have to go up to the counter. I got the keys. She's like, oh yeah, just walk out the door, take a left, and just keep going until you get to it. Turns out, like, the rental lot's like on the other side of the airport, past that, and it's just like you're just walking for rows, and Hertz was like the last row. And anyway, when I had to return the car, I'm like, do I just park the car anywhere? Kind of did, and then I got to the counter. They were closed at 7:45 in the morning.
Hertz, key drop?
There was a key drop, which was located on the other side of the airport.
Yeah, that's the Spokane airport. I was like, where the planes arrive. Mm-hmm. The rental car facility is 7.8 miles away. I swear to God, you're walking and you need like provisions to get there. It's so far away.
And then at the key drop, it was the only box that said, make sure to write your mileage and what your gas tank's at, and like all the things that you're supposed to write, like they're supposed to check for you or would normally check for you at a drop-off facility. And it's like, make sure you write it on the envelope. I'm like, envelope? I don't have an envelope. So I just shoved the key in the box and walked away. I was like,
it's a very small airport. It's a regional airport.
Right. But after walking outside and getting halfway to the car 2 or 3 times and then coming back and just being like, screw it, I just dropped the key in there and I got no fines. I somehow forgot to put gas in it and didn't get charged anything for the fill.
Yeah, I don't think anyone gives a bleep.
It was nice.
Imagine you worked at a rental car facility. How many shits would you give?
That's fair. The pay ahead price was like $9.58 per gallon, and I was like,
yeah. No one cares.
Yeah.
Literally no one cares.
Yeah. And like the gas was like $4.50 when I was there.
Yeah, isn't that sweet?
Yeah. It's a nice, I mean, it's still ridiculous here. Anyway, that was our rental cars. Thank you for coming to Namely Rental Cars.
That was a solid 10 minutes on travel and rental cars. You know what I really hate about airplanes? It's like Jerry Seinfeld bit. Yeah, you smell like mushrooms. Like, you can't. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to go there. On the off chance that person listens to this.
Thank you for your patronage. If you smell like mushrooms.
To all of our listeners who smell like mushrooms, thank you again for your continued support.
Well, you just recently on a Southwest flight, the pilot threatened to turn the plane around if people wouldn't stop dropping nudes over AirDrop.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah. Although, I mean, it's a digital form of flashing. So
send better nudes, or I'm turning this plane around. Good times.
Good time.
Oh, well, it's a 1990 episode, but I suppose we should get on.
There's a lot of stuff that you might recognize, though.
All right. Well, Why don't you take us back to September of 1990?
Travel back with me, listeners, if you will, to September of 1990. On the 6th, Tom Fogerty, rhythm guitarist for Creedence Clearwater Revival, dies of tuberculosis at 48. On the 8th, the Fox Kids programming block debuts on Fox. On the 9th, 19-year-old Pete Sampras wins his first Grand Slam title against Andre Agassi at the U.S. Open. He is the youngest male Open winner, at least at the time. Don't know about currently. It's the first year since 1966 that all Grand Slam titles were won by separate people for both the men's and women's division.
Is this sponsored by Denny's by chance?
That took me a second. I hate you. On the 10th, the first Pizza Hut opens in the Soviet Union. So we're going to play a quick little game. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, God. In Soviet Russia, Pizza Hut owns you.
On the 14th, I remember this being momentous. I wasn't cognizant of it at the time, but looking back, Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. hit back-to-back home runs in the first inning of the Mariners game.
Back-to-back jacks.
On the 16th, Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan get married.
Meg Ryan. I just saw When Harry Met Sally.
Yes.
And then just now before I started this recording, Kayla and I started watching Sleepless in Seattle.
Ooh.
To which basically she started the movie and it was the first scene and I immediately had to get back up and deal with the children who were like, one of them had the other on like a headlock with his legs. And so I come back and I'm like, and now where is this movie set? Here's my question for you. You know how like that houseboat is like a famous houseboat now?
Yes.
We went by it on an Argosy cruise that we took on that waterway.
Uh-huh.
What waterway is that?
I would assume. The sound. Probably. Anyway, Lake Washington.
Like the interior shots are definitely shot on a soundstage in LA, right?
Right.
Like they're not shot in the actual houseboat.
I wouldn't think so, no.
Okay. I wanted to just verify that. I didn't think so either. Anyway, so far so good. I haven't gotten through the whole thing yet.
Well, hopefully I edited all of that out correctly. In the 18th,
Meg Ryan.
On the 18th, the International Olympics Committee was blah, 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 blah. On the 18th, the International Olympics Committee awards the 1996 Summer Olympics to Atlanta. On the 21st, Alison Scagliotti is born. She's known for her roles in Warehouse 13 and Drake and Josh.
Scagliotti. Sounds like she's in The Mob.
She is definitely some sort of Italian. On the 21st, Christian Serratos is born. Christian Serratos. He's known for... Nope. She's known for... Is that...
They are known for...
I'm pretty sure it's the girl. Yes. It's still spelled correctly. Christian, I don't know. Christian Serratos is born. She's best known for Ned's Classified School Survival Guide, The Walking Dead, and she's in those Twilight movies that Andrew loves. On the 26th, the MPAA creates the NC-17 rating. And on the 29th, Millie's book by Barbara Bush is released and is a best-selling nonfiction. It's about the president's dog.
NC-17.
Yes, that's the one where you have to be 18 or older. I don't remember.
How is that different than R?
They don't have NC-17 movies in movie theaters.
But that new Ana de Armas flick where she plays
Marilyn Monroe. Have you seen that trailer?
No.
Her accent is not good.
No, but she's cool.
No, she's great, but she's also playing Marilyn Monroe, who didn't have a Spanish accent.
Fair enough.
You should watch the trailer. It's quite jarring. She's a great actress. I love her. And I'm sure the movie's going to be great, but they're having trouble with her accent. TV premiering and ending September 1990. On the 7th, we have Tailspin. Do you remember Tailspin?
No.
It's a Disney cartoon focusing on Baloo, the bear, who has a plane that he flies. He flies a plane. Baloo from the Jungle Book. On the 8th, we have some more kids stuff on Fox. We have Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and Bobby's World premiering. On ABC, we have New Kids on the Block cartoon and the Wizard of Oz cartoon. And on NBC, we have The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 cartoon, and Tom and Jerry Kids, and Kid and Play cartoon. Which would have been more relevant had HBO Max not pushed back the release date for House Party 2, or House Party Reboot. On the 10th, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air pilot airs on NBC, as well as Uncle Buck on CBS, a TV version of the movie. On the 11th, we have The Family Man premiering on CBS. The Family Man. Familiar with The Family Man, Andrew?
No.
Not even the throwaway line in Family Guy where they said your name on The Family Man.
Yeah, I do remember the old couple. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
On the 13th, we have Law and Order. Assume you've never heard of that one.
Original Law and Order.
Yep. On the 14th, we have Tiny Toon Adventures, which is in syndication. We talked about that on our December 1992 episode because that's when it ends. On the 15th, we have Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Go Planet! On
Let
TBS.
our powers combine.
He remembers something. On the 20th, we have the Flash TV series on CBS, and which I'm still trying to get our friends at Watching Comics Podcast to do a in-depth rewatch podcast series on that. And finally, on the 23rd, we have the Civil War miniseries on PBS.
By the way,
yes.
The thing about watching all these old movies, now Things and Family Guy are making sense.
Which one?
In this Better Off Dead, John Cusack one from the 80s.
Do you now know a random episode?
There's
reference?
this scene where I think the Griffins get a maid. Mm-hmm. And at one point, Peter is riding the maid like a horse at a traffic light. And these two Asian guys in the yellow suit show up and start doing this weird commentary, like a race commentary.
Yep.
And I was like, what is this?
Griffin hasn't been in the racing circuit for
moppishness. Yeah. And I was like, what? And then I saw this movie and I was like, that reminds me. And then of course I pulled it up and I was like, oh, I get it now. That's great. I get things.
We should just do a whole episode on 90s references from Family Guy. In the box office, September 1990. On the 14th, we have Death Warrant featuring Jean-Claude Van Damme. And on the 19th, we have Goodfellas, De Niro, Pesci, and Ray Liotta. In the Billboard charts, number 1 for September 1990 for the first week is If Wishes Came True by Sweet Sensation. Blaze of Glory by Bon Jovi for the following week. Release Me by Wilson Phillips for the following 2 weeks. And closing out the month is Can't Live Without Your Love and Affection by Nelson. And Nelson.
Well, now let's go to Brandon for the Namely 90s Minute.
Welcome back to our mid-episode break, Namely 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, in honor of Season 5 of Cobra Kai, which is the only reason it's worth it to be subscribed to Netflix right now, we're looking back at the only part of the Karate Kid franchise to exist in the 90s, The Next Karate Kid. The Next Karate Kid is the often forgotten fourth movie in the Karate Kid franchise, mostly because the original Karate Kid isn't in it. The story begins as Arnold from Happy Days flies out to Arlington National Cemetery to receive accommodation for Japanese Americans who fought in World War II, where he meets the widow of his commanding officer. Her granddaughter, $1 Million Baby, is introduced as a troubled teen with anger issues because her parents died in a car accident. Also, she secretly sneaks out at night to take care of an injured hawk she keeps at school at their pigeon coop. Ah Chu, thank you Sanford & Sons, sends the widower grandmother to tend his garden in LA while he stays to watch Carly Reynolds from Beverly Hills 90210 and try to curb her anger. At school, there's a militant school security group of teenagers run by Jester from Top Gun, and the teen leader makes unwanted sexual advances on Boys Don't Cry. but since it's the 90s, she just has to take it. After almost being hit by a car herself and jumping into the tiger position, she confides in Captain Sam Pack from MASH, the TV series this time, and he helps her hone her karate skills she learned from her father. After getting suspended from school for 2 weeks, they travel to a Buddhist monastery to train her to center herself and not be so angry all the time. Upon returning to school, she learns the hawk was found by rapey McTeen Angst, so she has to release it. But not before Mike Wu from the Mystery Files of Shelby Woo does the classic hand clap healing thing from the first movie on a bird. On a bird? On a bird. Amelia Earhart goes to prom with one of the boys from the military security teens who is slowly realizing he's not on the side of good. And then it all ends in a brawl down by the docks. P.S. I Love You beats Rapey McTeen Angst, and then the voice of the Chinese Emperor from Mulan beats General Catan from Highlander 2, The Quickening, disbanding the Hitler Youth's security guards forever. Finally, the film and the entire original Karate Kid continuity ends with the fucking bird flying away over water. Thank God Cobra Kai exists. Fuck you, Karate Kid 2010. And that's the next Karate Kid in a Namely 90s minute. More or less.
And now back to the show.
Anywhere you want to go? There's a lot.
Well, this is a tough one.
I mean, we have to kind of talk about Goodfellas because we plugged it in our Insanely Dangerous Retro Pod Show appearance, Quotely 90s. So
true.
If anyone came over there from here from over there, they wanted to hear about Goodfellas at some point.
Goodfellas, it's about a few really nice guys, right?
Really, really nice guys.
Yeah.
No,
not much to say about Captain Planet.
You remembered it, though. I want to talk about Captain Planet at some point.
A little bit. I feel like it was the characters were very,
Power Rangers, Sentai.
Multicultural. Oh. Diversity was kind of a thing.
Yes, there was.
And also the planet.
Well, the 5 Planeteers were Kwame, voiced by LeVar Burton. I'll let you guess which one he was. Wheeler, from Brooklyn, New York. Linka was from the Soviet Union. She was the blonde girl. Wheeler was the redhead guy. Guy was the offensive Asian.
Yep.
The Asian woman. She controlled the water. And Matai was even more offensive. He was the Brazilian that wields the power of heart. Wheeler was fire, Kwame was earth, and Linka was wind. Apparently, she was from Eastern Europe in seasons 3 through 6. Because of the time. Oh yeah, yep.
It's from the Ukraine.
Oh, and then there was Suchi, which was
even more offensive. There's the problem with animated shows is, I think we've talked about this. Animating a person of another race becomes very problematic.
Suchi was Mati's pet spider monkey. The Brazilian's pet spider monkey.
Still very problematic.
And then when their powers combine, I am Captain Planet. Yeah.
Isn't he blue and really buff?
He's blue with a green mullet, and he has a red outfit with the yellow earth on it. Yes, he's really buff.
This seems incorrect. I don't believe a guy with a mullet is going to be the one saving our planet.
That's true. It was the 90s. Everyone had a mullet in the early 90s, apparently.
Including a lot of women.
Yes.
A mullet with a perm.
Yeah. The Clinton, as we call it now.
Didn't Roseanne have a mullet perm?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Early Roseanne episodes, definitely. That was her hairstyle as well. It definitely implied something, if that's what you're going for. They fought against the eco villains, which were a small group of evil characters that were related to pollution. There was Hoggish Greedley, a pig-like human who represented the dangers of overconsumption. We had Duke Nukem, which somehow
turned into a thing.
So the character had to be renamed in the computer game to be spelled differently or something.
I didn't realize those. Oh, interesting.
Because this predated Duke Nukem, if it's 1990, right?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
No idea about that.
We have Loot and Plunder, Dr. Barbara Babs Blight, Sly Sludge, and Captain Pollution, who was put together by 5 evildoers with evil rings. Apparently, I don't remember that part at all. I remember watching this like as a kid, but what I remember the most about Captain Planet these days is the Funny or Die. I want to say it was Funny or Die, or it was College Humor. I think it was Funny or Die. They like about a decade to almost 15 years ago now. They did Don Cheadle as Captain Planet. Do you remember this? Oh, so good. He like, so it was like Brenda Song from the Disney Channel was the Asian girl. Britta from Gillian Jacobs from like Community was the Eastern European girl. Anyway, they formed Captain Planet, and Don Cheadle just comes down and it's like terrible. He looks terrible, but that's the point. And then he starts like turning everyone into trees, and he's just like it starts out like he's saving the day, and then he just starts like turning like everyone into trees, and he's just like, Captain Planet, motherfucker.
It's good to know that this show had no effect on our views toward environmentalism or the planet.
That is a good point. It kind of petered off. We're
doomed, by the way.
Yeah, just flying home, looking at all of California. It does not look good out there right now.
No. I think it's largely on fire.
Yeah, or just dried. Like there's nothing. There's no water. I did not see water from Oregon to where I landed.
It's pretty much all bad.
Yeah, we're gonna die. Speaking of dying,
why am I laughing at this?
It's your kids' problems now.
Yeah, true.
Did you want to talk Law and Order? We talked SVU before.
I never really watched the original very much. That's my problem.
Me either. Well then, we could talk about something I know nothing about.
Which is?
The 90s Flash. Because I've been dying to do that since I've learned that this was a thing.
I can't even believe it is a thing.
Right? 90s Flash. It was starred John Wesley's Ship. I think I talked about it a little bit because he comes back as Jay Garrick's Flash in the new Flash series that's currently still airing and ending this year. And also he comes back as his 90s version of Flash and dies, spoiler for everyone, in the crossover event from like 2 years ago. And then Mark Hamill is the Trickster. That's Luke Skywalker plays the Trickster, which is kind of like the Joker, except before he played the Joker in Batman the Animated Series. And then also starred Amanda Pays as Christina Tina McGee. I think that she's best known for that, and she played Theora Jones in Max Headroom, which is an 80s thing that we know nothing about, other than it would just be like a weird computer animated show. And I think that's all I really have to give about The Flash from 1990. It's
horrible, really.
Yeah. I
just imagine what things looked like in the 90s, and it makes me not
want to watch it.
No.
Why don't I? Can you type the 90s Flash into Google image search, or do I need to send that to you? I just want you to describe what you see in a Google image search.
No. Richard Belzer in it? That's funny. He was in Law and Order.
Richard Belzer.
Detective John Munch.
Joe Klein is his character. Oh, wow. Yeah.
This is funny. First question on Google. Why did 90s Flash get canceled?
It was
because everything sucked in the 90s.
Yeah, it was a single season. Superheroes weren't taken seriously until Batman from 1989, but still, like, it took a little while. No one knew who the Flash was back then. Now all they know is it's the guy who keeps kidnapping people, and the
CW didn't exist back then, so
yes. Well, I mean, the Arrowverse is ending in the fall. I'm kind of sad about that, but it's time. It's time. Goodfellas.
Well, it's a mob movie. That's about all I know about it.
As far back as I remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did this bit.
Yes. So it's a Scorsese flick. I'm not going to push it on you. I think it's the best Scorsese film. And it's better than Casino.
Martin Scorsese.
It's a compelling film. Ray Liotta does a great job in this. It's basically about some people who are on the outskirts of the mafia, working their way up to the top, but then not being accepted because they're not full Italian, and kind of just it's kind of weird because the character is kind of a schnook. To take from your people's language. You gonna let me get away with that one?
Sure.
Okay.
German?
Yes. Anyway, this is where the line, Joe Pesci and Ray Liotta, Ray Liotta was like, you're really funny. And then Joe Pesci takes it the wrong way. He's like, funny what? Funny like a clown? Funny haha? Do I amuse you? Am I amusing to you? As a joke. That's a great line. But yeah, it's widely regarded as one of the greatest films ever made.
Wow, that's high praise.
Particularly in the gangster genre. Yeah, it's a mafia movie. There's some twists, there's some turns. They use Layla, Derek and the Dominoes.
As in Eric Clapton?
Yes.
Got me on my knees. Layla.
It's mostly the piano part that they utilize. Especially at the end, because he basically, spoilers for a 1990 movie. In the end, he eventually turns on everyone to save his own skin. He's turned state witness, and so he's living in witness protection at the end, and he's like doing this whole voiceover about how life sucks in witness protection, and everyone got what was coming to him, but now I have to go to a 9 to 5 and whatever.
Gotta go to a 9 to 5.
Yeah. Ray Liotta. Yeah, but just a brilliant cast. Pretty much everyone that's in The Sopranos was probably in this movie. It's a movie I would recommend. If you like the gangster movies, if you like The Godfather, if you like Casino, I guess, if you like Scorsese, definitely this is a film for you.
All right. Probably not gonna watch it.
Yeah, none of those things are your favorites.
I was like, yeah. No. Yeah, no. Yeah.
It's yeah. Anywhere else? CCR?
CCR, great band. I guess John Fogerty was kind of a douche. Is kind of a douche. That's they're one of the most popular bands never to have a number one hit.
I did not know that.
They had a lot of number twos, so to speak. That's a poop joke, in case that wasn't clear. What else? Well, maybe we should be rolling down the river to the next. Okay, I'm sorry.
Was that another poop joke? I think that's it for today.
No, Rollin'. You know that song?
Yes, but
that the Turners ruined, by the way.
The who?
Ike and Tina Turner. They did that song. They covered it, and it's the worst cover ever.
I didn't know they covered that.
That's the cover most people know and think it was the original song.
I'm
no.
fairly sure I've only heard the CCR version. Well, then that's it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Check out the episode description for this week's supplemental Spotify playlist curated by yours truly, and it'll probably feature Rollin' by Ike and Tina Turner. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Namely90s with 90s, or find our personal Twitter accounts at bschwitty and at NamelyAndrew. And tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. If you would like to support the show, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/namely90s, also with 90s. And while you're listening, if this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button, because we do this every Monday for you for 30-ish minutes, where we look back at the 90s and kind of try to remember it sometimes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. There's a subscribe button. Hit it. Hit the notification bell. If you
smash it.
If you're listening to this in audio format and wondering why I'm saying this, check out our YouTube at namely90s.com/YouTube. And finally, you can contact us through our website, namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, subscribe button, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon. That's Andrew, and we'll catch you next time.
Next time. The federal government has logged that you're now on a watch list.